Welcome to WLOX-TV 50 Years Together. WLOX was the first television station serving South Mississippi and began broadcasting September 15th of 1962. WLOX-TV was founded by the Love family and became an ABC affiliate October 14th of that year, 1962.
We had two groups after the same channel. One was the group with Otis Robinson and Ed Ball. They were going to put the channel in the Edgewater Hotel where Edgewater Shopping Center is today. We were going to put the station in the Buena Vista Hotel, which Jimmy loved, and it took all sorts of legal maneuvers with the FCC in Washington to get them to release that channel so that we could have it over here and could start telecasting on it. We had a $100,000 budget to put the station on the air. That was the maximum. That was the studios, the lighting, the cameras, the control room, the transmitter, everything, the antenna, the towers, the whole works. And that was all that Jimmy Love, the then president of the company and the principal owner of the company, would let us have. He said, 100,000 is it, that's maximum, you've got to get it for 100, and if you don't, you just don't go.
When we went on the air, our AM radio and television studios were located in the Buena Vista Beach Hotel in downtown Biloxi, across the street from the current Beau Rivage. WLOX broadcast local news, entertainment, and ABC network programs, serving the cities of Biloxi, Gulfport, and Pascagoula from the Buena Vista until August of 1969.
Civil rights leader Martin Luther King says racial disturbances in Grenada prove the need for federal laws to protect civil rights demonstrators. Richard Winterstein has the story on that in a minute.
And that's the latest news of the nation and of the world, brought to you Monday through Friday at this time by Wilson's and Wilson's Prescription and Drug Department.
Now here's Chuck Scarborough with the weather.
Good evening for United Gas. Well, let's take a look at the national map again and see what the temperatures are going to be around the nation. First of all, that's not heat rising, that's signals for showers, and those showers are going to be falling from New York all the way through the southern section of the country.
You know, when I was working for WLOX in 1966, 67, and 68, it was a brand new television station then. And it was like having a television station as a toy in a beautiful resort area. It was right in the Buena Vista Hotel until Hurricane Camille swept it out to sea. So there we were on the beach with our own television station to play with, and we even had a glass studio at one point so we could see out onto the beach and watch all the action, watch the young ladies walk by and people having fun out there, and it was a marvelous time to play with television and to be in such a terrific area.
The day the Woodstock Music Festival was coming to an end, people in South Mississippi were bracing for Hurricane Camille.
It was a memorable moment. I had come in because it was approaching on the weekend, and we came in to prepare the studio, and we sandbagged some doors and thought about what we needed to do. And then we started broadcasting and urging people to leave low-lying areas and do all the other things that are necessary. And I did that for hours after hours and thought I had really worked hard, but only to find out after the storm is when the real work began. During the storm, the water came into our studio, so we left a few hours before the highest waters got to the Mississippi Gulf Coast. We had to. We lost power, and water was literally in our studio, and the studio cameras were floating, the radio station was flooded. So we went upstairs to the lobby of the Buena Vista Hotel, and there was a stairwell, and I sat on the stairwell with a fellow disc jockey, and we watched the water come in, and each time the water would rise, we'd move up a step, and then another step, until finally it was about 6 or 7 feet high in the studio that we had operated in.
As the water receded, the staff regrouped with one thought in mind: get that radio station back on the air. In just a few hours, the staff managed to do exactly that. It was not easy, folks, but they did it, and once again began broadcasting news and post-storm information to South Mississippi when this community needed it the most.
And then we transitioned to the post-storm mode, much like we did after Katrina. It was all about trying to reconnect people and to establish communication so that people would know how others were doing. And we did that for days and days, and we had no records to play. So it was a non-stop voice track. And we'd take turns sitting there at the microphone, and we'd read for hours and try and tell stories about connecting people and putting everything back together and rebuilding the Mississippi Gulf Coast.
After Camille, WLOX moved to the Werline building in downtown Biloxi. And in April of 1971, we moved to our present location, here on DeBees Road in Biloxi. From the very first days of WLOX-TV, Covering local news and events has been immensely important to us. Over the last 50 years, a lot of things have happened. We want to relive some of those people and some of those events with you, our viewers, who we so much appreciate. So let's go down memory lane, 50 years together.
What started out as a move to halt construction on this Jackson County interchange for Interstate 10 has become a move to set aside 100,000 acres of land designated as a critical habitat. And if that happens, it'll not only halt progress on the highway, according to county officials, it will seriously impede progress throughout the county.
According to the commission, the next major step is to get the convention center underway. But receiving of bids is going to be delayed 2 weeks. The new date now will be January 29th. The reason? The contractors expected to submit bids are going to be in Hawaii attending a convention. Ray Williams, Newsline 13.
From stories that you've covered, from behind the scenes, now, what are some memories that stick out in your minds that you want to share?
I remember a moment on the set in there after Katrina, and we would have guests. We were, as we call in the trade, local. We were local because we were doing so much coverage of Katrina, interviews with people, and various people would come in and talk about, tell us what they could tell us, and I apologized for smelling bad, and whoever it was said, "Don't worry, I haven't had a shower in more than a week." And it's like, oh, so it's okay. It's okay to be this way. And it was just, it's a poignant moment that I will never forget.
You know, my second day here, I covered Bobby's Bikinis' last day selling bikinis out of a van on the beach in Biloxi. Day 2 on the job, and I'm out with women wearing bikinis. This place was awesome. From there, 2 weeks later, I covered a Ku Klux Klan rally and ended up winning a Spot News Award from the Associated Press for that story. I'm a Yankee from Chicago covering a Ku Klux Klan rally. It was the weirdest event in that I had never experienced something like that before. And it's one of those memories that 24 years later still sticks with me.
Well, I haven't really reported that much except for the last 3 years. Obviously, I was running the assignment desk for the first 20 years I was here, but I did a story about a contractor that was ripping people off on a daily basis almost, and we confronted him. He actually threatened me with a gun at one point.
Hi, I'm Doug Walker with WLOX-TV. I'd like to ask you a couple questions, if you don't mind, about some of these court rulings against you.
Court rulings?
Yeah, a bunch of court rulings that you have against you. Are you with Discount Roofing?
Oh, boy.
Are you with Discount Roofing, sir? There's several judgments I have here against you.
Well, you know what you can do? Is you can kiss my ass.
Well,
you say that on the
do you have May Carver for $600, sir?
Well, you can, any business that's ever been in goddamn business has got more goddamn suits against him than both.
I'd just like to ask you a couple questions. We'd like to get your side of the story.
If you walk up that car, there's a 9mm under the seat. I wouldn't take granted that you're out to hurt me.
We're just trying to give you every opportunity to respond, sir.
But we managed to run him out of town, and he didn't take advantage of any more people ever again.
A memorable story for me would have to be my trip back to Vietnam. You know, that was such an emotional experience for me. You know, I still get teary-eyed when I think about it because you know, my family left Vietnam when the war ended in 1975, and then all of a sudden there I was, you know, back in the home where I grew up and reuniting with relatives I hadn't seen in more than 33 years. So
the houses, businesses, and roads look so unfamiliar, and all the faces are strangers. But one place seems to take me back in time.
Well, this is my old school here, actually, and now it's a preschool.
I attended first grade at this former Catholic school.
Hi, Dowdy.
This is where I spent my last day in Zeeling, at this very school, surrounded by friends and teachers I would never see again.
I feel so blessed to be able to go on this trip and then come back to Mississippi and share a part of my life with the people of South Mississippi, and it was truly a life-changing experience for me.
And I've covered so much in 24 years. I covered the Sherry murder trial, not once but twice. You know, I uttered the words, Pete Ouellette, the former mayor of the city of Biloxi, was just found guilty. And that's, you know, one of those things that you say and you just don't realize what's coming out of your mouth.
The one piece that I've had more comments on than anything else I've done in WLOX was right after Katrina. Travis Alford, the photographer, and I took a drive along Howard Avenue. It was about an 8-minute piece. He turned on the camera. I just started talking, describing what I saw. I spoke from the heart, and I think people really, they related to that. They appreciated that, and that piece got so many comments that we drove past the casino barges that were tossed on the shore. We ended up at the Church of the Redeemer, which of course was destroyed. And that's where the Camille monument was. So it was very touching to me as well, just to walk down there, the place where I had attended covered church services down there on the occasion of Camille's anniversary. And to see that post-Katrina was heartbreaking. And I think they sensed that in my description when we were taking that drive.
Basically, I shot it during the height of the storm, Katrina, the mother of all storms. A family, their house was filling up with water, and they left the house, and when they got on Highway 90, they hit this major pocket of water, and you saw this huge SUV, a Suburban, floating backwards. And the man, the man of the family is hoisting his kids out of the window and putting them on the roof. And fortunately, it happened right in front of the EOC, so all of the emergency workers, you know, went to their rescue, and you know, that was quite a scary situation. I was pinned myself up against a fire truck, and the camera's just, and the wind's blowing me like crazy, and I'm thinking more, not my life, praying that I don't drop this camera in the water. The water's up to my, you know, chest deep, and I'm just hanging on to the shot.
Because there were so many heroes, I did a South Mississippi Heroes, if you remember, for 5 years. Every week a different hero, and that was really a turning point in my career because it was so uplifting, and I liked it. I was so passionate about it because of my own personal experiences that I think it really made me a better reporter. I was really writing these, you know, stories that I was very, very proud of.
When I first got here, you had that show Sunday night, and I loved that show.
17 years on the air with that show.
And there was quite a bit of controversy that would brew on that show, which is really what the show was about. What are some of your most memorable moments with Sunday night?
Well, they would get pretty spicy, dicey. I don't know if people are familiar with the Westboro Baptist Church, infamous Westboro Baptist Church out of Kansas. They're known for their God hates America, God hates homosexuals, although they use another word I wouldn't use. And then they eventually started harassing the families of American men and servicewomen who were killed in the line of duty when they came back to America. And they were horrible. And I had her on the phone, the daughter of the founder of the church. We're live on TV. The phone, we didn't have our delay system in at the time. And after that show, they did put in a delay, by the way. But anyway, she whipped our viewers into such a frenzy. It was unbelievable, and some very choice expletives did get on the air live that night. I mean, it was incredible.
Joseph and Van Cleve, go ahead, Joseph.
Yeah, David, thanks for taking my call. I'd just like to say, yeah.
You know what? We might have to go to break here in a little while because your first appearance on the show, Alan, and what do you think about this? I know my management is probably having a...
I think we're just getting a bunch of hate.
Well, you know what? We're not going to take any more calls.